Corporation. And we, here at the city of Tollette, the, building, Silver 205, Town Hall Drive, Tollette, Arkansas. And we're gonna have a welcome by Mayor Brenda Porter.
Good morning. Good morning. Come on up. I'll carry your stuff.
I know. My fear is.
Morning.
Morning.
I would just like to welcome everyone here to the group this morning. I hope that it's a successful turnout. Hopefully, we want people on their way. We got here with they were on the highway. So, but I would say and welcome everyone that showed up today.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we're gonna have an opening by Larry Lawson, our Director of Tax Covering the Dead.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you all for coming out. I'll echo what Mayor Porter said. Thank you, Mayor Porter, for the welcome. It's nice to be in historic Tollette, especially in this old school building. There's something about these buildings that most of us have some familiarity with. And the one difference that I share and that the folks of Tollette share is that their building is still standing. Whereas the school I went to 1 through 5, only one corner, one wall remains. It was a great school, once all female teachers. And we all went on to do quite well. We went to larger schools. We went to school that was much bigger and everything. And students from that little town in Head, which is in St. Francis County, they stood out because those teachers, they made sure that we understood what they were teaching us. There was no getting away with it. We could not get away with it. Those things didn't exist then. I hear today a lot of teachers talk about students and their attitude about school, their behavior, and basically things didn't get away with it. It didn't exist back then. We didn't get it. So I would just like to say welcome again, and we're glad that everyone's here so that you can have the benefit of our own Dr. Calvin King, of course, but also our panelists, our partners, USCA, and thank you all for attending. We know that a lot of great information will be shared, and I just like to say welcome again. Thank you.
And I was speaking to I spoke with Mr. Austin, I believe, and he said that he just owned that flag here in 1870, up here on the wall. So here he is today. Next, we're gonna have one USDA urban and rural by our own President and CEO, Dr. Calvin King, Sr.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Again, I like to express my appreciation also to the mayor for hosting us here for this particular event. I'd like to say, Mayor, for everything that's been done here today. This event, while it is taking place in person and virtually at this point, so this entire agenda and all the information, it is being recorded. And we record it for the purposes of putting it back out to the community even after this particular time period has passed. And we do that by way of our website. And we are moving to a point now where hopefully in the very near future, we will have our own YouTube, and where we will then come back with pre-recorded meetings and we will air them on our own YouTube channel. And we move more toward this because We just found that, outreach is not something that you do today and then move on and you do it again another month or so after. It has to be continuous in dealing with the process. About this information does get out to the public and particularly for the underserved, communities. I must say, I'm most impressed with the area and the community as I was traveling in. I'm from a rural area, a little small town, and I don't even live in the town, small town. I'm outside the city limits, a little place called Harvard, over in eastern Arkansas. I grew up on the farm. While this has been my career, after college and my whole educational journey, then I returned home. My farm also, while I was working for a 20-year period of time, I was engaged in production agriculture, dealing with my upbringing farm. What was so impressive about the roads coming in to Tollette, the road that leads through and leads from Tollette, is that all of the green pastures, the integrated agricultural production that's taking place, livestock, along with the chicken production and farming operations. My function is based on the number of log trucks that I saw. Chipper is pretty popular in this area as well, and I'd be glad to assume that. So this is also chipper country as well. So agriculture, you have diversity in the agriculture, in this area, adding more diversity to the overall economy itself, as well as the other occupational careers that exist in this area as well. We're here to bring you in partnership with what we call One USDA, because USDA is one of the most resourceful institutions that we have in our local communities. And what you will find is that a lot of people in our underserved communities are not wholly familiar with USDA, and when I say One USDA, the various divisions within USDA, everything from Natural Resource Conservation Services, and NRCS plays a role that everyone wants from an environmental perspective. The Farm Service Agency, and what FSA does, the Farm Service Agency does, as it relates to financing the agricultural industry, as well as the support that it gives to those farming operations that allow them to implement certain practices as relates to conservation services that are in the whole issue around our environment today and how agriculture is actually implemented. And that's both in the finance side, but we have the program we have that as well. Just what we have rules of. The rules of I've always heard the statement being made that rural development can literally build an entire community. So when you say prosperity, the community resources for prosperity within the local communities, because they offer resources that allows this type of diversity in economic development. That's everything from infrastructure development for small towns or municipalities, water sewer systems, community facilities, housing, business financing for a local area, as well as energy. This is another area, and that's really a growing industry in our area, at least. It is everything from solar energy to the windmill energy is a growing thing now. Now, to what extent USDA will engage in or be involved with that, it's probably yet to be seen. Then they have ag marketing services. And what's so unique about USDA and One USDA itself is that now they have urban agriculture, urban micro farming, as I call it. So you don't have to be a 100-acre farmer or a 200-acre farmer. In this area, they have more smaller farmers, so because of the diversity of the type of agricultural enterprises that you all have to engage in this area with the chicken and with the livestock. In our area, you're talking about 5,000 acres, 10,000 acres, more, 3, 4, 500 acres, type of farming operation. But basically, rice, cotton, soybeans, wheat, winter crops, and used to be some mallow. And of course, we have the peanut industry in our area as well. Yes, those are larger type farming operations. But it's sort of what I call back to the future. When there used to be smaller farms, and that was a book that was written, in particular author's books, but it was called Living on a Few Acres. And it was pretty popular back in the 70s and the first part of the 80s, and how these small farming operations that were being carried out by small farms, everything from fruit and vegetables, type of crop production, such as what's being done now with the micro farming operations. USDA has kept up with the tide as it changes. It offers both the resources that support those type of farming operations with our micro lending program. NRCS has been doing the same thing as it relates to the conservation practices and program payments at a level that meet the needs of the urban and micro farming operation. But all of that will be discussed as part of our being here today and a part of this overall outreach meeting. Both the conservation side and, as I was driving and thinking in also, one thing that really struck me, and I don't know how many farmers are using it in this area, but when I was looking at the livestock operations and the makeup and the volume of operations that appear to be in this local area, it's grown. We're engaged in and dealing with drone operations as part of the organization now, and we use drones as part of a demonstration which we have on our main site for our office location. It's about 300 acres, but a livestock operation. But we use drones as a part of management for the livestock operation. We have certified staff and licensed staff that actually fly the drone, but to monitor both the fencing, to deal with livestock counts when you're going out there, to actually versus walking and looking for calves, and you know that the cows may have given birth to bring out new calves, and how calves they will lay down in the grass, they hard to find, and you walk everywhere, and it's like the calf knows you right along, you can't see them do anything. But also using drones as part of that practice as well, and along with town fencing, really monitor the fencing operation, particularly after sort of weather that you've been having here lately. And where you have tree-lined areas and have fencing. So we fly the drone to evaluate the fencing to see what type of damages, if there has been any damages, any fencing down. And it is going to be something that will be very beneficial in working with livestock and farming operations itself. So we're also engaged with, we're involved with that for the organization itself, along with outreach, and hopefully also to promote it more and the possibility of other operators, even in this area, could see the benefits of it, and we provide the information accordingly for them. The areas that have been very crucial and a serious barrier in a lot of places, and most places that we go to, is on air quality. And when I say air quality being a barrier, it can be a barrier because if you have land that is not being utilized, or you have land operation, or even a house itself, If it's an air property piece, land or real estate, and it's undivided interest, and you don't have a court order or an established administrator, or if you have not probated it to get court determination in the assignment of an administrator that has the responsibility of dealing with that estate, then it can be challenging for you to get one access to financing and a lot of other resources that's available, not just the USDA, that's both the public sector and with the private sector. And of course, we'll talk more about that and answer any questions that individuals may have in relation to our property. But one thing I would say that's been done by USDA in itself to deal with the changes that are taking place and recognizing that has been a barrier and trying to remove that barrier, or at least give individuals access to resources to address that barrier. And that's with a re-lending program. In the 2018 legislation itself of Farm Bill, they established a air property loan fund, not directed by the USDA, but air property financing that they implement now by way of third party itself that make the loans to individuals that allow them either to get clear title of the property by one individual or to reduce the risk factor that is involved and how families and individuals are having in the past and continue to today lose that land that active inheritance that they have from one generation to another. But we'll also be able to answer questions in relation to that both the available resources in one case, and then on other cases, we have educational publications that we've put out on the issue itself, but material free publications that will give the individuals who are present here today, and those individuals who may be online that have an interest in the information, then you can call our office and we will submit that information or provide that information to you. So I'm going to stop at this point. The other areas, the farm certification and things of that nature, we're probably more in detail about that. And basically, when we give reference to farm certification, if you're interested in, if you are a micro farmer, a small farmer, and you engage in producing vegetables or horticultural crops, the certification can be very beneficial for you if you're looking at maximizing the market opportunities that exist for you. A lot of markets, certain markets require certification of what they call good agricultural production practices and good agricultural accounting practices. And the state can certify farms that are producing vegetables that allow them to access broader markets in certain cases, and it's just good to have, for other reasons. And there are other markets that are available. One that is being offered by the state now, by way of the State Department of Agriculture, along with the Department of Human Services, and where you can actually supply a local market. We've worked with farmers and where they put together the information, submitted it in to the food bank, and the food bank then paid those individual farmers to supply the local food pantry. So they pay them to supply the local food pantry with fresh vegetables or those crops they produce. So it's not a matter of you necessarily dealing with farmers market and as customers come through, because you may not have the type of farmers market that provides the type of volume necessary for you to move that, if you think you're producing on your farming operation, or your number producers maybe growing on that farming operation. So that's one of the major benefits to have a local market opportunities, working with the food bank and expanded market opportunities in working with the food bank and the Department of Agriculture. Yeah, that was started a few years ago. We do have problems in our areas, but other areas that we've worked with, and they have gotten that certification done where they can supply the local food pantry versus trying to identify other markets, having more risk involved and where you lose some of your profit, because you don't have to rent access to a local market or a market that will actually allow you to sell all of your products. Local food supply is also one of the areas that is recognized by USDA itself. I think Farm Service Agency recognizes it also, if that's one of the areas you're going to be dealing with, and you're getting finances from them, you can show that you're going to be dealing with local food supply and the vegetables you're producing, and you have evidence that you will be supplying that particular market and the necessary requirements to be met. And again, we're talking about food pantry. The food pantry exists in most areas. May not be directly in Tollette, but I'm sure they have food pantries in the surrounding area. I was called, Tollette, the suburbs of Arkadelphia and Texarkana. That's what I say about ours. I'm from Memphis, and as you don't know, probably we feel like Arkadelphia. I said, well, I live in the suburbs of Memphis, Tennessee. So that's, so some of the things that we're going to be offering today, and we'll be looking forward to your engagement, asking those questions that you feel you want information on. Asking what need to be asked for your local community itself. So you are not here just as an individual to receive information, how it's going to be beneficial for yourself, but you're here also to serve as one that can be a vessel, for the local area, for the local community, and a resource and very beneficial for others in the local community. So I'm going to stop at this point and turn it back over to Ms. Williams, and we'll proceed ahead with the agenda.
Thank you, Dr. King. And I'm gonna ask, the one on the line and here, as the presented, speakers this morning, that we'll wait questions after they finish. I'm gonna, ask another with the FSA and, NRCS, if you have, further information on the urban ag program, if you'll bring us a little bit more. So we're gonna have NRCS come up first, and for your taxi episode. All right.
Good morning. So I'm going to keep this pretty informal and kind of keep the information pretty basic. So what we do at NRCS is we can provide technical and financial assistance to landowners and producers. We have a couple of programs that you can sign up for. The most popular one is called the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, or EQIP. This provides assistance to address resource concerns and deliver environmental benefits such as improved water and air quality, conserve ground and surface water, increase soil health, reduce soil erosion and sedimentation, improve or create wildlife habitat, and mitigation against drought. So their EQIP in our state provides agricultural producers with one-on-one help and financial assistance to plan and implement improvements and conservation practices. So how this works is we will come into our office located at 101 South Washington Street, National Farmers Market. The first you will have to get eligible for the program. So students who is eligible to grant loan agricultural produced land, or if you live in an urban area, offices for that as well. So to get eligible, you will have to go over to the farm service agency, whatever it's titled this. And you will have to get your farm record set up. So this will include, giving us some basic information, name, phone number, social security. To go into their database, and then you will have to do some pretty basic paperwork, have to fill out, just about a deed or lease of land that you're operating on. We'll have to fill out a 941 or adjusted gross income document. This will ensure you're not making above a certain amount of money. It's $900,000 a year. You'll also have to fill out a 1026. This just determines any development of road land, wet bank certifications, and then also a non-budget or farm operating. Once you're eligible, fill out your application, we will work with you one-on-one, some field visits, and we will work with you to help you decide what your long-term goals are for your operation, what you want to achieve. Whether you've got chicken houses, swine, livestock, any kind of livestock, forestry practices, you want to maybe enhance your wildlife habitat. We can provide assistance with all that. So you will come in, fill out an application. We'll get a build as a stone work site plan, and we will come up with all that. We will assess all the applications we get. The deadline is usually in early November for each of it, and then we will rank them, and then we will receive back which ones have been pre-approved for. We not decide that animal this goes through our computer system, and then we will look at if your application has been chosen and funded, and then once you sign that contract, you know, start work. We also have a conservation and stewardship program, or CFP. This is a good program for those who are ready to intensively manage their operations. So maybe you've already decided that, you know, you're going to do rotational grazing, you've been doing that for years, and you're ready to, you know, take it up a notch. That would be a good program for you. Or someone who has already completed an EQIP program and they're ready to take their operation to the next level. And for urban, that is still relatively new, been doing that for a couple of years now. It's getting very popular. We see a lot of households and, you know, a lot of application for those. And it's it is becoming very popular. We can some of those their office. But if you don't have any further questions, you can always swing by with us all. We will be really happy to. And you're in the because it's time.
Okay. Is there any questions? For Patsy in RCS? Any online?
Oh, it's good enough.
Thank God.
You know, sometimes, we do these meetings, and when we talk about CSP, conservation stewardship practices, and you know, what type of practices or how those practices may be beneficial to you, that's one. If you're raising chickens, if you're raising livestock, or if you just have a small operation and you're producing vegetables. But on the area where we talked about here, environmental alternatives, no program. The equal program, and we call it micro urban farming. The urban farming may be 3 acres or 4 acres, whatever. And you can go in and you can put in, as a part of equip, you can put in a hoop house. And so you can put the hoop house look like chicken house almost, or a large greenhouse. Now, what does that do for us? It extends your growing period. It extends your growing period for vegetables, if you're raising vegetables. And, you know, we have some clients that where they have put in some large hoop houses. They have hoop houses that's I would say Mr. Davis is the largest room, you say like,
Pretty much, yes,
And
thanks,
so-
heard of our name.
yeah, you know, maybe even larger than the room, lengthwise particularly. So he signed up for equip, he put a hoop house in, and, you know, he's raising vegetables, he has roughly about, 3 acres or 4 acres, so the hoop house is on, and he's producing vegetables also on the other outside area, of the hoop house. But again, it's an extended growing season, and there are other practices that you can put in as a part of the hoop house. Now, on the equal program, and RCF is correct me if I'm wrong on this. But on the, well, not the hoop house, I won't say on the equal, but that's more on the conservation good practices, but the minimum payment is what, about $4,000 range? I think now it's 4,000. Yeah, that $4,000 is the minimum, about $1,500. And it changed last year from $1,500 to $4,000 being the minimum payment that individuals get if they're signed up for the financial assistance, particularly where you were dealing with the CFP, conservation stewardship practice. Conservation stewardship practices, some of those practices can be a part of EQIP. And EQIP is the first step. That's the first step. Irrigation system, land levels, a lot of pollination, dealing with that pollination, putting pollinators out is very key. And dealing with raising any type of vegetable or fruit crops. So in the local area, not only is it beneficial for the producers, it be beneficial for the entire community of the area itself. But they support the pollinators out as well. So it's a very good program. And most of the financial assistance for that. And I really like the fact that y'all develop a financial assistance versus a total payment style. Because the financial assistance, but it did program payments at one time and defining that, particularly if you're falling into certain categories. One, if you are in that underserved population category. One, if you're African American. Two, if you're veteran. Three, female. No, let me take that back. They took female out as part of the social disadvantage, NRCA.
Yes.
Okay, so female is taken out, it used to be female, but African American or any minority, that falls within the definition of the minority population. And it's based on the point system, It's, but those are categories that, that does give you added points of authority for the agency itself in dealing with, again, the underserved segments of the population. Third part about that is dealing with the number of practices that really add to deal with how they deal with the whole court system itself. The number of practices that you can put into your plan. And they have all the specialists and people who write those plans. They develop a plan for you in order for you to receive the benefits of the financial assistance to get everything established and implemented. That's on the equal. Same thing for the conservation stewardship program. The financial system, and I think the max is $250,000 per contract is the maximum for CSP.
I believe that is, under the farm bill, I think it's 250,000 is the most you can.
Yeah, that you can, and that's all for one particular contract. If you're dealing with the conservation stewardship practice program. So now I don't know if NMU either online or in person have signed up, you received the benefit of either equipped of the CFP program, but they are great programs. They have other programs also. You may be one that own land and you're not farming now. Or you know someone, own land, they're not farming, and they have to rent it out. In case you have that problem, it's not rented out, is it, are they farming? Why not? conservation easement is another program as well. And that could either be, what, 15 years minimum, or it could be permanent easement on the conservation easement. And it pays so much per acre under the conservation easement program. If it's on a permanent easement, I mean, you cannot use it for agricultural production purposes, period. So there's a permanent easement on it, but you are paid so much per acre depending upon the land itself. I know over in our area, I think the maximum payment for irrigated land is roughly $3,300 to $3,500 an acre. If you put it into the conservation easement program, that's for open land. Timberland and wooded land, I'm not sure, if I don't quote me on this, but I'm thinking the price for wooded land is running roughly about $700, to make it more or less or so, and that's on the conservation easement program. So, know and understand the program benefits itself. If you're thinking about becoming a beginning farmer, a small beginning farmer, or if you're already engaged in farming and you're not utilizing the program, then you miss some resources. I mean, if you deal with livestock, which we did this as part of our demonstration on our farm, where our office operation is. We implemented, did a equal program on the farm. We did, two on the first. After the compliance period, I mean, after the compliance period, we did the same. They have a compliance period. But one, we did livestock. And with the livestock equal program, we went in, we dealt with establishing and dealing with permanent pasture and seeding. That's what they had cost for. It's better now than what it was then. But dealing with seeding, establishing permanent pasture base with perennial type grass, because we needed a better pasture base on the pasture. We also put in, we had a well installed to set up a automatic watering system for our cows. So that means now we don't have to just run the water out, anything like that. We have a watering system that shuts on and off with the paddock area and where they water. But that was done as part of equal program to give you that, and that's only one example. We also did the equal program with the roof house. And we worked with an individual farmer, beginning farmer. She wanted to go into being a beginning farmer, and she was trained in dealing with small scale farming operations called micro-urban farm. She said she wanted to own her farm one of these days, her own. But with that roof house, she dealt with producing and understanding producing and marketing off of the equation, roughly about 3 acres that she worked on. She got a small service agency loan. She got her own tractor. She always said, I'm not going to John Deere, y'all. John Deere don't need profit out here. But she said she wanted a John Deere tractor. She got her own John Deere tractor, and she dealt with marketing. She now owns her own farm. She bought a small farm in North Little Rock area, and where she still continues to do a farming operation and a marketing using both farmers markets as well as direct to the supermarketing, and she markets directly back with a number of restaurants in the Little Rock and North Little Rock area over Pulaski County. But that's just an example. Utilization of equal livestock operations is one example. The same thing applied back to the micro-urban farm in dealing with vegetable production. And then, of course, the same thing would apply with equal if you're dealing with, if you only operating 40 acres or 75 acres with other type of crops and row crops, the irrigating system and land and things of that nature. So it's a major asset for individuals that want to get into farming or if you're already as an actual farmer, that's, wanting to enhance your overall operation. From where you may be now, and you want to move it up a step, you are with certain practices that you're going to employ, crop rotation, cover crops, things of that nature, as far as conservation to your practice. So, if you have any questions, sometimes we were talking, we go through the process, but I like to make sure that people really understand, here's what the program does. And here's our, yes, ma'am, you have a question in the back.
Yes, good afternoon. I am a neighbor resident in Hempstead County of Fulton. And wanted to find out what is the process for people that lease land to access the equipment program? What's that relationship between the?
If they use land,
Right, so if I'm leasing
okay,
land,
leasing land,
right,
okay, yeah,
I'm gonna let leasee using somebody else's property.
any individual that's leasing land, and here's what we encourage individuals to do. One is understand the compliance period with any program you're signing up for. So if you're signing up for the equip program and the compliance period, I think it's 5 years, 5 years roughly on the compliance period. In other words, you must have a lease agreement that shows that you will have control of that land for a minimum of 5 years during the compliance period of the program that you're signing up for. No, and that's a equip, and you're going to put a new house in and other type of practices. The same thing would apply with any of the practices that you may want to have as a part of your overall agreement with NRCS. But leasing, it can be for lease land as well as land that you own. You just have to show you have control of that land and particularly the cover compliance period. Now, I've also had the question asked that, okay, what if something happens? And the compliance period is not up, and the individual that leased the land will not be the same individual, but the family's going to lease it to someone else. USDA has the capacity of what they call novation or transfer. Then they can get another person to lease the land, but they would have to deal with the process of transferring that contract over to the next individual who leased the property to complete that compliance period on that particular piece of land. Otherwise, you could find yourself as the individual owner of that land, could find themselves that farm being out of compliance if someone else leased it later on and that contract had not been completed and they wanted to sign up for the program. So the farming operation would be out of compliance. So those are the things I say you have to be very cautious of when you're dealing with an individual who is leasing land and one of the owner goes both ways, but for the moment, one of the things. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Any other questions? Did you ever answer that? On that question, did you ever answer that? That's it, okay. Any other questions related to equal conservation, stewardship, or conservation needs? One thing she said that is very, very, very important, very important. If you're going to lease land, this land that you own, and you do not have a farm number, and I hope everyone here heard a loud and clear. Say first, you go first stop is farm service agency. Farm service agency, there are, so I forget the numbers on the form, but you have to fill out basically not movable land and things of that nature. But to get a farm number, and in order for you, if it does not have a farm number, then you must show that you have control of that land, even if you're leasing it to someone else, then you must show that you have that land leased. You have control of it, and you want to get a farm number for it. On the owner, if there's not a farm number for it, then I would encourage you to get a farm number for it before you lease it out to someone. Get the farm number, and then you definitely lease it as a farm. with that farm number, technically start a farm if you don't have the farm number, because if you don't have the farm number itself, if you first stop with FSA, then NRCS can't work with you. They can't sign you up for EQUIP, they can't sign you up for CFP, any of it. So you must have a farm number. And then just to get confirmation on that, you need to go to Farm Service Agency. And some of the things that you find out, even as the owner is changing operators, they're gonna lease it to someone else. That is, oh, well, we have a farm number already. John Doe has been farming it for years. Well, if they have been leasing it out to a farm and they have, that operator has what, reconstituted? If the operator has reconstituted that farm, combined it with another that he has or she has. So if they have taken your farming operation, you lease to someone else and they get reconstitution of that farm and combine that farm or the land that you have with another number that he or she may have, then I change operating at least to someone else. You need to get confirmation of that because you may no longer have a farm number on that particular land or your farm. And you can do that because I didn't know on the land that I was leasing. I really, that's what I want to combine. I don't want to be dealing with all these numbers. I want to put it all in this one number here. And all of these tracks here, everything within this track of these land that I'm operating on one number. Okay? So you do need to check that. Don't assume just because you're farm, you're gonna lease this land from John Doe, and John Doe had to lease to someone else who was operating before and they retired from farming, and that person is looking to lease to someone else. Don't assume that it definitely has a farm number. So, but you can get that confirmed with the Farm Service Agency, and of course, if it does not show up as having a number based on the ownership of that land, and it does not have a farm number, then you would need to get a new farm number established for the operation, and you operating as a part of your lease agreement, then you are operating it, and then doing all that through FSA, and then sign up for the program services with NRCS. So, but that's the other point regarding lease land and land that may have been designed. That's all.
Okay, questions? All right, thank you. That's it. Okay, next we're gonna have a program, Darwin. Dalton, County, CPD, well, County Executive Director, CPD, and Kenneth, Russell, Farm Loan Manager. Darwin will speak on farm program, and, Kenneth will speak on farm loan. Or from the farm loan program. All right, Darwin, do you want to, FSA? Okay.
Thank y'all for having me today. I was gonna go over establishing the farm number, Patsy has opportunity to build this job. So I'll kind of add to what they had to say a little bit. It's the building block of all of our programs, so we need to get that farm number established. One thing Dr. King said a while ago, even if they had been combined, we still have a farm number to begin with. You don't ever lose the farm number. It may need to be reconstituted and split out into different farm numbers based off your legal description. In establishing farm number or getting one corrected, we will need a legal description, either through a deed, county office records, tax assessment bill. And if you'll just bring that stuff in, we'll guide you through everything that needs to be done in order to get that established. We will need your address, social security number, and other purchase information to get you in our computers. After we know the required forms for NRCS, we will need those same forms for FSA programs. Most of our programs in this area in southwest Arkansas are gonna be livestock-based programs due to disasters. We have the livestock indemnity program, which pays on the loss of livestock due to natural disasters, such as if you had a lightning strike, or here lately, the bad weather coming through, such as a tornado, and killed your cows. We can make a reimbursement on that. We will need data pictures, we will need beginning and ending inventories, and whatever other proof of ownership that you have on that livestock. We also have the livestock storage program, which is utilized during the drought when the county gets above E2 for 8 weeks. We'll pay on a per head basis per acre of your livestock. We also have the conservation reserve program. That is not utilized much in these counties due to the fact you have to have a cropping history, so most of the time it's eastern Arkansas that's more utilized since there's still more row crop operations open. There's not very many in Howard, Pike County. There's still some in Little River. I will say that our rates aren't the best as compared to other parts of the state. So that's kind of a detriment to people signing up for that in our areas. We can do marginal pasture land, and that is along creek banks. If you're wanting to fence the livestock out of the creek, we can go to the high water, CR. Air property, that is land that is owned by descendants of deceased people who the state did not clear probate. The descendants or heirs have the right to use the property, but they do not have a clear or marketable title to the property because the state issues remain unresolved. The following are accepted to establish you as the farm operator of such property. A tenancy and common agreement approved by a majority of the owners that gives the individual the right to manage and control a portion or all of the land. Tax returns for the previous 5 years showing the individual has an undivided farming land. Self-certification that the individual has control of the land for the purpose of operating a farm or ranch. Any other documents acceptable by FSA county office that establishes that the individual has general control of the farming operation, including but not limited to any of the following. Affidavit from an owner stating that the individual has control of the land, limited power of attorney giving individual control of the land, cancelled checks or receipts for rent payments and or operating expenses. FSA has really opened this up and made it easier with self-certification. A lot of times when it's air property, the person paying the taxes is the one that is generally in control of the land. But we can now accept the self-certification, and that's different than it was in the past, and it makes it a whole lot easier to participate in our program. The micro and urban farming in the Farm Service Agency's realm of things is just beginning, so we haven't really not delved off into that a whole lot. We do have the non-insurable assistance program, which is an insurance program for crops that are unable to obtain commercial insurance. We can do insurance on pasture land, which is mostly what we do out here, but we can also do vegetables that are uninsurable. I think about the only vegetable that's insurable in Howard County would be peaches. That'd be a fruit, not a vegetable. So all your other ones, your tomatoes and strawberries, things of that nature would qualify for the NAP program. The NAP program is a $325 fee per crop per year. The fee is waived if you're a beginning farmer or socially disadvantaged. So you will not have to pay the fee. Do y'all have any other questions?
I have one on the air pocket. Say your dad passed and you were there for a couple of acres of land, but you had, got everything changed over to your name. Would you need to put in probate or you could apply for a farm number?
We can establish you as an operator, and then the loan will just be based on your personal stuff. That be correct?
So, what happens if the land is trust?
In a trust, you should have some trust papers that you bring in and shows ownership, and we would establish. Either we can set it up and pay the trust, or you can sign up as the trust, or if the trust leases it to an individual.
But let me ask you this, even the trust, in most cases, trust have an administrator.
Yeah.
For the trust have an administrator. If you have an administrator, so if the trust, and the reason I say that, I'm the administrator for our family trust. And of course, the court decree itself. There's a whole probate process and then the certification of trust. And so I have papers showing that I am the administrator for that trust. And of course, that certification, authorization is also filed with the courthouse, in the trust itself. Now I have seen cases where the administrator, say the previous generation administrator had passed on. If that be the case and you still have active trustees with the trust, then those trustees that are named in the trust to come together and authorize a new administrator for that trust. Now, you can do that by way of a resolution itself. Those who are the administrators, but named administrators for the trust, but they're named in that trust, we presented that to FSA, the trust documents, and those who are named as the trust administrators, and a resolution by those administrators and the minutes of that meeting establishing that person as an administrator, and then filing it with the courthouse, would be the best process for it. So you have it for doing anything else you want to do as well. I want to do it. And you asked the question, you said, what about trust? Now, were you saying, if you are dealing with the trust signing up for program purposes versus an operator signing up for program purposes? And that's two different areas in what you're talking about. I'm not sure that program payments, if you sign up as a trust, and say, well, I'm going to, somebody is operating, either a member of the family who's a part of that trust, or the trust may lease it out to someone. Okay, so in most cases, in a situation like that, where there is a trust, then the trust is execute the lease with the operator, with whoever the operator is of that particular farm or of that land. So that agreement is executed with the operator. When I was operating trust land, then that was a lease agreement. I had a lease that had been executed and approved by the trustee for me to operate the land that was in the trust. So by that, then I went, because all the program payments was going to me as the operator, and I was paying cash rent for the use of the land. So, and I think I'm right. So they just signed up as a trust for the program. If you have an administrative sign, you have an administrative sign for, let's put it in conversation, CHP. So if you decided to put in CFP, conservation stewardship practices, and the trust wants to put the land in, that's one thing, because all the land belongs to the trust. So the administrator signed up, and we're gonna put our land into the trust. And I'm the legal, I'm the administrator for this trust, and I'm putting this conservation into conservation reserve program. Then, of course, all the payments itself from the CFP, or the CFP program, conservation stewardship practice payment, would be going to the trust. So then they'll be responsible for making the payments out with all documents going to them, for making those payments out, or check distribution out to the trust, not to me as an individual. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there are two questions there.
Oh, you got to come.
Yeah, one of them,
Yeah, two on one.
I wanted to address it, Dr. King, how to file for administrator, as administrator for air property. And another question, how can correct the instances when owners' information are changed without the authority?
I'm gonna answer the first question first. Anything done without authority, there's something not legal, so I'm gonna put that one like that for the pen. And if it was done without authority, you said in the context of an estate, then that's something that, you know, needs to be settled, dealing with the heirs of all of those who are part of it, if it was done without authority. You know, a lot of things can be challenged as it relates to authority, because you have undivided interests in land, and you do not have a court decree, and you're not going through the process of probating that estate to establish one, who the owners are, and then two, administrative authority. You do it through the courts, you know, from that perspective. If we're speaking to air property, okay? As far as establishing and administrative authority, you can do it a couple of ways. You know, one, you can deal with the process. Well, either way, it would require an attorney. I would recommend you deal with an attorney. If you petition the court and it's air property, and it's a question regarding authority and dispute anyway, the court is going to make a certain determination on who has interest of ownership in that asset. And they would issue a court decree to that extent, who those administrators, not administrators, but who those interest holders are. And there's a time period by which that they do that. The other is that if there is an heir or any individual that does not feel that they are satisfied with the way things are handled, and they want to get that interest out in the land or in the real estate, then they can petition the courts. They file a petition with the courts. And then all those heirs who say they do not want to sell their interest in the property, then the court, by way of the new law in Arkansas, then the courts itself first order that the one who won that interest out was first offered to all the other heirs at the market value. So I would have to offer my interest to all of my siblings at whatever the appraised value is of my interest. And they would have the right to buy that out. Now, if the heirs decide they're not going to buy it, now they're not going to be in agreement with what that appraised value is, then they have the right to do an appraisal themselves and go back to the courts and say, well, we're willing to buy it for our appraisal, and that may need to be a mediation process and dealing with that to get full acceptance by everyone in order for it to be an acceptance on the part of the courts and all that. I'm not speaking for the court, I want this not to say, and, Larry, so you got the legal background, so I'm hoping that this is quite clear. But, I would definitely suggest that you consult with an attorney, regarding that, to establish the legal administrative, authority, it can be a probation and the probated to the court, if you know who all the heirs are, then, the attorneys can draw up the legal documentation that is required, signature requirements, that would be needed in order to get the authorization for one to be the administrator for that estate. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, anything else?
And if it didn't answer the question, just say you need more information. Put your information in and we'll get it back to you. I'll even call them, we'll make sure you get the details, make sure you get the correct information. And answer the question to the extent that you need, information.
If you're trying to lease some land like I am for, say, Hayfield, and the grandson right now, as far as you know, is one of the legal heirs to it. And he's trying to get notified the other legal heirs of it. Is there a way that for him that makes it easier for me to still operate the property? Is there a way that he can get it without finding all of the heirs to the property?
If you have, and I think, as FSA was saying, they're trying to make it easier in dealing with their property now. If you have the majority of the heirs, if they have the majority of the heirs that's in agreement with you leasing the properties, then I would consult an attorney on this also to get the necessary lease drawn up, have the lease drawn up, and then, documentation of authorization, that they are authorizing, you as the person to operate that particular farm.
Would that also go for if that same person was buying it, trying to buy it?
Down the property, can't do that, just.
That would go with the same person trying to buy
Yeah.
it. You can always wait until they got it bought and then get on this plan.
But if he was trying to get the heirs and he didn't get all of them, would
If
he?
they get the majority of them, that's pretty fine.
Yeah,
And in our regards, if you bring a cash lease in, we don't know who all heirs are.
Yeah.
So there may be 20, 30, 40 of them, and we have no way to track that. But then that would turn into a legal issue if you have a lease and want to get them back on. Then they can keep you off.
You said continue, you're gonna lease the land for a period of time.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're gonna operate for a period of time, with a lease agreement, then I would show that lease agreement to farm clearance agency that, you have the previous lease, and where you've been leasing the end of the wait, so it shows evidence of you being the operator, itself. And those individuals that have authorized you to do that, particularly if it's a majority here from that standpoint, because we already have history. Have you been certifying your operation with FSA every year?
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
With that farm number, you can certifying years of operating that farm for a number of years already.
Yes.
Okay, so if you can certify, that farm with years of operating for a number of years, that's some evidence, that's the evidence there that you've been in control of the property. And, based on that, the way that they're really become a lot more flexible now, as the thing has, if you have that as part of evidence and then you reach agreement, but continuation of your operating, running your farming operation.
I would like to add on the trust, if you do get paid as the trust, all this required documentation we have to have will be on each member of the trust, not just the trust itself. So sometimes that makes more difficult if there's a lot of beneficiaries of the trust.
But the trust is supposed to have. And that's why I said. So if you deal with the trust, if you sign up as the trust itself, that information has to come forward. But if you sign up as an operator, it's a little different thing, because you just lease it, you got a lease agreement. Right. And so that particular individual, I know with me, that I was the operator of the trust land. And of course, the trust authorized me as the operator. When you sign the trust up, it's a little different twist.
Hello, I'm Candace Russell, farm manager for the Southwest area. Got you. You are out there. They can hear me. That's good.
Is that volume? Sure.
To follow up a little bit with, the urban farming, she said she would like some information about that. Arkansas is actually lucky to be one of the states that was chosen, to kind of start the urban farming, initiative, I guess. The, actually, the county executive director and the program technician jobs opened up this week for that. It will be in Little Rock. It's still forthcoming. Any information that you would like on that or where they're at with that, you can get that from farmers.gov. For loans, we do farm ownership loans and farm operating loans. Ownership loans, obviously, to purchase farms, operating loans to purchase cattle, equipment, or your annual operating expenses such as feed, pay, etc. We do microloans, which are 50,000 or less. You can have a microloan for a farm ownership or an operating loan, and that's the first 50,000 that you would get. For really, a lot of what I was going to say has already been said. So, one other thing about the urban farming, it's opened up for more of the innovative farmings, that indoor, rooftop, vertical farms, hydroponics, aquaponics, things like that. More for someone trying to get in that just doesn't have the opportunity to get started on a bigger farm. With loans, we've also done, they talked about those hoop houses. We've been making quite a few loans for the hoop houses for individuals to get started on these smaller micro farms. People just that don't have the resources to have these bigger farms, and they do small scale. Those are the micro loans come in handy for those, because it's less security is taken, we take 1-for-1 security, so whatever you purchase with loan funds, that's what we take as the security, as opposed to other loans, which we are required to get up to 150% if available. Any questions?
No, on that monthly loan. Of course, you have an annual payment, and then you have a challenge, you have all to do.
Correct. For the operating loans, all operating loans, they're either annual or term. Term is up to 7 years. The annual loans can be up to 2 years for repayment, depending on when your production cycle would end and when you would be able to sell, et cetera.
The livestock, for your breeding.
For breeding stock, it would be 7 years. Ownership loans can go to 40 years. We typically don't like to do that because you, if you ever needed to reschedule a loan, we would not be able to push it out any further after the 40 years.
I want to make sure. I want to see everyone understand what she's saying on the multiple years versus annual. If you're buying breeding stock, and so you're gonna expand your herd and you get in a micro loan. And of course, the only thing they're taking in security is just the livestock that you are getting a loan for, and say some equipment. It might be a hay bale or something, yeah, let's just say a hay bale. So if you're only gonna get you're only gonna buy breeding stock and a hay bale, so the equipment. Then you have 7 years, you have up to 7 years, and you'll make those annual payments on that loan for a period of 7 years. But if we develop and redevelop farm business plans for individuals, if that loan request was for breeding stock, some equipment, and then some for operating expenses, let's say $5,000 for operating expenses. And it was gonna be for some fencing that you need to get done, do some re-fencing, it's gonna be for some feed, veterinary services, things of that nature. Then you have to pay that back at the end, or at the end of the year. At the end of the year, you gotta pay that $5,000. You gotta pay that out, so you should have sold enough livestock from the other part of the herd to make that pay that out. But normally that's determined in the business plan that is developed for you based on cash flow, operating expenses, and projected sales in that business plan. So breeding stock is an example, equipment, is the other. If you were going in and you were going to do a combination of what we call a full comprehensive plan for a small scale micro farming operation, and you sign up to equip, and I don't know what the maximum is now for the hoop houses. Is it went up some? But let's just use $20,000. So you qualify for $20,000 for the equip program. That won't be all in 1 year. That may be over the period that the plan period. And then if starting an operation off, the financial assistance for that, if you're gonna need some operating expenses to bank your property things in the hoop house, on that small scale, that small farming operation. Then you apply for you do the business loan yourself, micro loan, your operating expenses for seed, you may get I'm really afraid to say you get a tractor. If you get a tractor, and I go around looking at tractors, what you call micro, small scale farming, tractors, they get to be expensive. But I would say, if you're gonna put a tractor in there, on the equipment, you really need to measure look at the horsepower and what's most cost effective for you with the micro loan, dealing with smaller. You can't get some small tractors, not much larger than a lawnmower, something like that. You probably a 30 horsepower, 25 horsepower. That's on the some dealerships, you can get them at 25,000. 20,000 for small scale equipment, those type of operations. Again, that's just an example with the business plan. Do a business plan. You gotta have a business plan in order to say, put together the application. So you know you got a cash flow, you can repay the debt, the operating side, as well as the multiple year payments as well.
On that website, farmers.gov, they're really trying to make it more, user friendly. And if you go there now, there's all the loan options are there. There's now a loan assistance tool. And it's basically a step by step based on your answers, kind of work through it, and it tells you, the types of loans that are best suited for what your needs are. Also, it keeps, you can find the application on there, you can find all the other required items that would be needed. All of your offices are listed there. They're really good to look at too. You can actually pay your loan now on there. You can pay my loan, it's a name of it, so.
They can also be used.
Yes, yes, we will finance used equipment, for the 7-year term as well, as long as it is 1 year. So, that's something that local lenders typically don't do as often.
Is there any questions on?
Is there someone within the agency, within ALCDC that you know, write the plan?
Oh, yeah, I'll apologize for that. Very good. Let me say two things with regards to that. One, our partnership with USDA, both NRCS, FSA, and RD as well, they definitely work with you and they work with us and dealing with the process. It is a paperwork process, but we actually do that work as being a partner with them. We do the farm business loan packaging. I mean, you can be here in Tollette, Arkansas. You contact us. A lot of them we'll do it, by way of computer. We know what information we need to get to begin the process and all the forms that are required in developing that farm business loan application. So we do that. I do a lot of talking, but Larry and Mike actually do the paperwork, but I do understand it. I don't get me wrong. I do understand it very well. And if it's the application process for NRCS, we also work with individuals with NRCS as well, developing the actual application for sign up for NRCS program service. But we can do that. We can work with individuals either directly by our computers. We can work with you with visitation point by Zoom. We'll set up a Zoom meeting with you and meet with you wherever you are to have a discussion, regarding what you want to do and what your needs are at this point. We will, if you want us to engage the agency itself, we will create that meeting that will include both the USDA agency representative along with you as the applicant and with the Arkansas Land Community as being a support service agency. So we have that capacity and we do that, as well from a client services perspective. If it's on their property and you have a number of members and they have access to computers or they can do it on their phone, and you want to have a meeting with your interest holders in the property to answer any questions for them or to have some discussions about you know, what you wanna do or what may be the best direction for you to go as it relates to the air property, then we can do the same thing from that. You know, we will set up Zoom meetings, and have those discussions, with a group of individuals, as well as just one individual regarding air. It's just a matter of scheduling, getting everything set up and having all of the email, addresses for everyone. And we'll send a link to them based on the scheduled time and what that agenda discussion would be as it relates to your family, on the air property, that you want to have address. All the questions and things you want to have address as it relates to the air property. So we do operate, and I apologize for that, that's a very good question. We do operate, I'm asking all the questions, but they say, maybe I should talk more about what we do. Yes, sir. But we do that, we don't just do in-person, meetings, we do virtual meetings, we do virtual client meetings, we do in-office client meetings, as well. And, we'll set up, if we want to meet with an FSA person and have some discussion with them and want us to set it up where that FSA or NRCS person will be on the meeting, we'll make the contact, schedule it, and send a link to them as well, as part of those discussions to move forward. So location is not an issue as far as the rental service is concerned for the client. All you have to do is call Jamie Williams, and she'll give you the phone number. Larry, Michael, and they will take care of it.
That's right.
Thank you, we have, another, USDA, agency, rural development here, and she is Rebecca Budd, the area director for rural, housing, grants and loan. So, let her tell you about the program.
I'm just gonna give y'all some brief information. I appreciate y'all inviting me here today, because there's a lot of times that people don't understand what all rural development does. But I'm gonna start off with the rural home loans. They're also known as the Section 502 direct loan program. This program helps low and very low income applicants by decent, safe, and sanitary housing in eligible rural areas by providing payment assistance to increase the applicant's payment ability. Payment assistance is the type of subsidy that reduces the mortgage payment for a short time. The amount of assistance is determined by the adjusted family income. The applicant must be without decent, safe, and sanitary housing, and must be unable to obtain loan from other resources on terms and conditions that can reasonably be expected to be met. Agree to occupy the property as their principal residence, have legal capacity to incur a loan obligation, meet citizenship or eligible non-citizenship requirements, and not be suspended or debarred participation in federal programs. Properties financed with the direct loan funds must be modest in size for the area, not have market value in excess of the applicable area loan limit, and not be designed or income producing activities. Another program that we have is called the 504 program. It's for single family housing repair loans and grants. It provides loans to very low income homeowners to repair, improve, or modernize their homes, or provides grants to elderly, very low income homeowners to remove health and safety hazards. The property must be located in an eligible rural area. Loans can be used to repair, improve, or modernize homes, or to remove health and safety hazards. So an example of a health and safety hazard is if you have a hole in your roof and you need it removed. If you're 62 years of age or older, have very low income, and own and occupy your home, then you can make it a grant that's $10,000 to replace the roof. You must be eligible, you must show that you cannot repay a loan, but if it becomes a loan, it's a 1% loan. And it's for up to 20 years, and the maximum loan amount of this program is $40,000. So, you know, it may be a combination of a loan and a grant, so we can do
504 repair loans and grants for up to $50,000. That's $40,000 loan, $50,000 grant. Like I said, the interest rate is 1% fixed. If the loan is greater than $25,000, then you are required to do title service and all of that stuff. The grants, that's a lifetime maximum of $10,000. So if you just need, say your renter needs to be handicapped accessible, then it's only going to be $2,500, and you need to be able to, convert your cut to a handicap accessible cut. Well, in the future, you can come back and then you throw out $7,500 grant, that you might be eligible to receive. That is the maximum lifetime of $10,000. Another one, another program we have is the home loan guarantee loans. And this program helps approve lenders like 100% finance, no money down mortgage loans, eligible low and moderate income applicants. It's backed by rural government. The 90% loan note guarantee encourages lender participation by helping them build on stress. With a single family housing guaranteed loan, applicants can buy an existing home, including the cost of rehabilitating, improving, or relocating the dwelling, which relocation, don't think we do that in this area. They can build a new home. The home must be used as their primary residence and must be modest, decent, safe, and sanitary. If you contact your local lender to find out if they do guarantee loans, but like I said, one of the advantages is that you don't have a down payment on that. Now, for communities, we do water and waste disposal loan and grants. This program provides funding for clean and reliable drinking water systems, sanitary sewage disposal, sanitary solid waste disposal, and stormwater drainage to households and businesses in eligible rural areas. Basically, the grant amount would be based on the entity, like the water rates and sewer rates, that type of thing. I don't know, they'll all be agree with that. But we do water and waste disposal loans and grants. We also have a community facility direct loan to develop and improve essential public community facilities located in rural areas at 20,000 population. Funds can be used for equipment to be purchased and for facility construction or improvement for projects that have not already been started. Types of projects financed for healthcare, it's hospital, medical clinics, mental health facilities, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, for public safety, community, 911 communication centers, police and fire stations, and equipment, and public services like courthouse, city halls, adult and child development centers, child daycare centers, senior centers, community centers, just all kinds of things. We do have not only the loan for that, but we also have a grant program, but they have just reduced our grant funds to basically zero. So right now we're looking at $5 B&I program does what they call a value-added producer grant. This program helps agricultural producers enter into value-added activities related to processing and marketing at vital ways, value-added products, generating new products, creating and expanding marketing opportunities, and increasing producer incomes are the goals of the program. It may apply independent producers, agricultural producer groups, farmer or rancher cooperatives, and majority controlled producer-based business vendors are eligible to apply for this program. That is actually handled by our B&I office, which is in the state office, but I can get you contact information, and we do have fact sheets back there that gives you more information on the program. And then we have the Rural Energy for America program, also referred to as REAP. It provides guaranteed loan financing and grant funding to agricultural producers and rural small businesses for renewable energy systems or energy efficiency improvement. Agricultural producers can also apply for energy efficient equipment and new system loans for agricultural production profits. Who can apply agricultural producers with at least 50% of their gross income coming from agricultural operations. And small businesses in eligible areas. Agricultural producers and small businesses must have no outstanding delinquent credit debts, judgments, and working hard to do a business with the federal government. a lot of people with this REAP program, they have put solar panels, solar energy out there, and reducing their electric. And I know there is a business that, they manufacture parts for sawmills, and they recently put solar energy on top of their buildings to reduce their electricity bill by 60%. So that's just an example of some of the things they do. We have farmers that, increase the size of, their generator for the crops, you know. It's just different things, but like, this is also sort of the same office, but rural development, all of the programs that we do is out on our website, USDA, rural development. And it'll tell you all the fact sheets, it'll tell you where to go to apply on the single family housing, part of it. It will even tell you what's considered a rural, but rural area, eligible area, because like in the Texarkana area, we don't do anything in the city limits of Texarkana itself, but we do Delaware County. So depending on where the property is located, it's whether it's, eligible or not, but if you tell you, you put in an address, it'll tell you whether or not it's an eligible area or not. It tells you, there's a key worksheet out there that you can do that tell you things that you might be eligible for a single family housing loan or repair for grant. There's all kinds of stuff out there that you can look at and just give you the information. It looks like you might be able to start eligible or not. Do you have questions?
Questions upon? Any questions?
How much has been done in Hempstead County?
How many actual repairs or loans are done?
Right, yeah.
I don't have that exact number right now. You do get quite a few applications. Our applications are actually processed. We converted to, they're gonna say like, so I don't have the actual figure right now, the numbers that are done in Howard County, I mean, in the county, because they're done all over the state, like, so we get received an application, it may be processed and it goes for office.
Well, I think part of the success, if you will, is for folks to see or know someone who's been through and who has been a part of effort. So I think that should be some information that all of you already should have to say who are success stories and what have been what production numbers to help us to know, is this really accessible? Because we hear it, but we're not necessarily seeing it.
I do, and I apologize for not having the exact numbers, but we do have success stories, but when it comes to that also, we have to ask the individual if we would be allowed to tell that they're a success story, because.
It's important numbers aggregate though, so.
I understand, but if you'll contact me, I will get to tell you how many you have.
You said low income, about what is that range, what is that average range?
Low income for Howard County is 1 to 4 person family that gross income is $50,700 less. Very low for 1 to 4 income is $31,700. That's a 4 people in a family. You have like one person who's on that, no, that's for one person. And I do have some applications with me for the 502 and 504 loan program in basic.
Just say, the young lady, she made a very good point. So sometimes people, particularly in other certain things, library, they hear it, but then you don't see where they're benefited from. Particularly, again, unserved communities and those who are eligible for the program. One, on the grant program, 62 years of age or older, are disabled.
And if you 62 years later, older, eligible program.
So if they're 62 years of age or older, to be eligible for the grant up to $10,000. Particular health hazard, and she gave Google an example. The other health hazard we have is that, they don't have air conditioning in the homes, and it's extremely hot. So you can have a central heat and air conditioning, it gets too cold. You can have windows,
We only redo this for value for broken.
if they're broken, okay.
Yeah.
If the kids maybe gonna go a rush, I'm joking about that, but the point is that all of these certain, from the grant, on the loan side, the disabled, they don't qualify for the loan either.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a 1% loan for 20 years.
Okay, 1% loan for 20 years, $40,000 up to $40,000, okay? So if you just say up to $40,000 for 1% loan, you're probably gonna pay less than $100 a month.
I would say.
Yeah, because the advertised is 1%, the advertised that over a period of 40 years, yeah, it'll be less than $100 a month. To do repairs and renovations on the home. So that means more than 62 years of age or older, our individual is not 62 years of age and they're disabled, then you qualify for the $40,000 loan. The total availability itself, those who qualify at 62 years of age, is $50,000 in resources to bring houses up to standard. Up to $50,000, $40,000, 1% loan, $10,000 up to $10,000 grant. They use the loan first, they'll use the grant last. Basically, what it means is that if it turns out that the overall renovation on that house is $45,000, they can spend the $40,000 in loan first and only $5,000 on the grant. It's reversed.
Yeah, we're going to get the grant money started.
Okay, well, that's a better deal. They're gonna use the grant first. See, they're so accommodating. I'll tell you that. That's very accommodating. They're gonna use a $10,000 grant first. Then they will use the loan money up to $40,000. That can do a lot of work on a house, on dealing with renovation and bringing the house up to standard. What do we normally recommend? What we normally recommend in that process? What we normally recommend is that you get a qualified contractor to do a pre-assessment. The pre-assessment of everything that needs to be done on that house. So when you make your application, then you'll make the application for the amount of funding that is necessary from the loan standpoint. It could be a situation, you apply for the grant, and you don't need 40,000, they say they can get all the work done for an additional $35,000. So you got $45,000, it could be a total of $40,000, you only need a $30,000 loan. So pre-assessment, that's normally the way we work with clients. Get individuals that you know will be a good contractor, licensed contractor. Yeah. Definitely a licensed contractor. Now, rules about it over not every normal, they have a list of contractors.
But there are listed on, website that you can find.
You can, it's right. Right, you can go on the website of licensed contractors, you can pull that information up and know who are licensed contractors, are those who are licensed in your area. But a licensed contractor, so the pre-process, first step, get the assessment done on what you know, the needs and what needs to be dealt with on your property, get that assessment done by a licensed contractor. Second, sign up for the grant and do a pre-application for the loan. So on the loan side, it's a little bit different than the
Application for the grant is the same as loan, so when you turn it in, we're looking at about
You want to go to Saturday?
About the grant and like the same time, I think that is part of the application process is that you have to send in your bid and pictures of what needs to be
Exactly.
prepared with that application, that is part of the application.
And that's why I say the first process is getting the contractor, get that assessment done, I got about 50 part done. To get the contractor will write up what the cost is and what all is gonna be done, itemized cost of what's gonna be done on the house. Take pictures and send that in with the application, and it's not a hard process. We do have a person that works with housing, but I don't want to see a person that is going to go and qualified to work with you all on that this side. What's your name?
Sylvia Grant.
Miss Sylvia's local in the area, and she's more than qualified and understand how to deal with the application process, on that. So utilize the resources are there, USDA is there, it's just a matter of going in and, doing what's required to get the resources, and internet, that's all over the state of Arkansas. These resources are all over the state of Arkansas, the USDA with rural development. Now, I know what's the maximum for, a direct loan for new construction?
$390,000.
Yeah. That gives you some idea of the cost of construction. And the reason I asked that question, $390,000+ for eligible individuals, that's how much, that's the maximum loan you can get, $390,000+ to build a new house, okay? That's one. On the other hand, it may be in your best interest to deal with the eligibility and meet all the requirements for the loan. Sometimes you come out better by purchasing an existing house that may be for sale, and it's cheaper than dealing with new construction. I know I worked with a client recently, but she's the first time home buyer, and she said she wanted to build a house, even though you meet the income guideline requirements. When you deal with repayment ability, that's the other part that comes with that. When you start dealing with the income to debt ratio behind that, so why you see $390,000 and this is how much you qualify for, and you can get a loan to build a new house. Repayment ability is another factor that's in there. And I've seen in a number of cases, in this particular case, the person was able to buy a very nice home that was for sale for a lot less, even for less than what she qualified for loan-wise. Less than what she qualified for loan-wise. So what she was able to do is to get the financing to both purchase the house and to do some other work on the house based on what you wanted to have done. So with that full loan amount. But that's one example too, when you start to talk about the loan for new construction versus purchasing an existing house that may be in your local area. So take advantage of the resource people. On the grant for public facilities, does that apply for municipalities and
Yes, but we have very limited grant now, so.
so y'all ran out of grant funds?
The amount they gave is like, I think 80%.
Reduce it? We know they're gonna be having, the Equity Commission, the Secretary of Agriculture is gonna be in Georgia next week. I had a conference call this morning, driving down here. And they're talking about dealing with equity and more equity in the underserved communities. So, that's something that needs to be brought to their attention. Is that if you talk about building equity for the underserved communities, you really have to make more resources available to USDA, to deal with those types of resources for the local communities. I just want to say that, we may not, maybe we should put this on YouTube. So.
All right. And thank you, Rebecca.
I think that was already my question, Tuesday, on this, 504, application on the, website.
No, I have some good news.
Okay.
And they can call, take our office, and they can be emailed or mailed or probably one of them. But I didn't hear it.
And they just help them about, they can help.
We can, yeah, we can't write on it, but we can explain how to fill out this.
Now, if you have a person in the room to help you with that. And I do know she has a certificate in house.
Hey, is there any other questions?
We didn't want to get it.
Oh, question, oh.
They get the question jealous.
Oh,
Are there any other information on the senior grants?
yeah, they have to be very much. The Bible of purpose are very well.
Go on, she has to go.
Oh, she answers, she,
Someone wants to know if there's any recommended attorney for Jefferson County.
Is it what?
Recommended attorney for Jefferson County.
Recommended attorneys. We don't know the recommended attorneys, I would, yeah, and when I say that, you know, they have a number of attorneys in the Jefferson County area. I would suggest, that you contact the Bar Association, State Bar, that they have a list of all the attorneys, for the Jefferson County, area. And you can also call the office, our office at 870-734-1140. And we can have some discussions, about attorneys, possibly in relationship to what it is you want to get done.
What's that?
Jerry, my question,
Where can you go for more on the grants?
I think,
Where
we
can
can't
you go?
hear.
Where can you go for more information about the grants?
You can go to the development, the vehicle development, website, and you can log in, contact the local law.
Did they hear?
Contact the local offices, rural development. Website, or website. Well, USDA rural development. And the county that will be in.
They have a USDA service center. Yeah, so just Google the USDA service center for that county,
But
and they should give them.
we don't have it on every county, like, most, if it's a, their service center, we don't have it on all of the services.
Yeah,
They don't have a number, Jerry.
they can refer them to the local office, but they just say service center, they'll get a prompt, you know, on there of which one to. But they can.
And whatever county or state, you know, you can do that. To that website. And there's a link on our website, you can go to the United States, click on the state. And even if they live there, you can go into that state or county and their business. For the county to try. Yeah. Okay, we want to thank the USDA, staff, for coming. And, on behalf of Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, we want to thank you all, and we have refreshments back there, and you are welcome into it, and we're going to help yourself. And we hope that you have gained increased knowledge of USDA programs that have been, mentioned today, and go out and tell others about what we do. To help you all. And again, thank you.